Okay, तो हम bio करेंगे. So the first question is, which of the following elements in plants is not remobilized? The elements, जो structural elements है वो mobilize नहीं होंगे. This is a direct NCERT question. तो calcium इसमें remobilize नहीं होगा. बाकी सारे elements when the plant is senile, so they will move to the new parts of the plant. But calcium won't. So the answer for first one is calcium. Means crossing over is initiated at. Crossing over initiate कब होता है? This is also a direct NCERT question. It's in the Pectine stage. उसमें crossing over initiate हो गया. इसमें कुछ there are no concept, ये याद ही रखना है. सारे जो diagrams दिए हुए हैं meiosis के सारे stages you have to remember them. और Pectine में crossing over होगा when DNA from one strand will go to the another chromosome. Reverse transcriptase. Reverse transcriptase क्या करता है? वो that is the reverse transcription process को वो करेगा. So it will convert DNA from RNA. RNA to DNA होगा. This will be done in viruses. So it will be DNA dependent RNA polymerase. This is also NCERT question. This is the mechanism. जो भी RNA viruses है, when they infect our body, तो वो DNA उनको बनाना पड़ेगा. तो वो क्या करेंगे? वो RNA से DNA करेंगे. For that they need reverse transcriptase enzyme. Select the correct option which represents the gland with its nature. Okay. An adrenal gland is a non-endocrine gland. This is wrong. It is an endocrine gland. Mammary gland is an apocrine gland. This is correct. Apocrine gland means when there is secretion from mammary gland, a part of the gland is lost. The cytoplasm is lost. That is apocrine gland. So the third option is thymus gland is an exocrine gland. That is the incorrect statement. It is an endocrine gland. And sebaceous gland is a exocrine gland. वो अपनी secretions ducts के through करता है. So it is an exocrine gland. So the correct option is the second one. Middle piece of mammalian sperm. Okay, sperm के structure में there are parts. So head, then a middle piece, and the tail. So middle piece will contain mitochondria. ये NCERT की figure है. So you need to remember this is a structure. There is no concept. इसमें the middle piece has only the mitochondria. So mitochondria only is the correct option. Which of the following is not observed in biodiversity hotspots? So biodiversity hotspots are the regions जिसमें the species variation is the most. There will be maximum species present there. So endemism वहाँ पे होगा because वो species सिर्फ वही region में मिलेगी. It won't be found anywhere else. Species loss would also be the maximum there. There will be most interspecific competition because बहुत सारी species होगी, so the competition would be the most. So that would be the wrong option. So it won't be observed there. Richness would be the maximum there. Which of the following is the genetic mechanism and prevents self-pollination? Genetic mechanism. So dichogamy, heterostyle, homogamy, not homogamy, dichogamy, self-incompatibility, and heterostyle. All three are the mechanisms which prevent self-pollination. But genetic इसमें से कौन सा है? The self-incompatibility is the only genetic mechanism. Dichogamy and heterostyle are not genetic; they are physical mechanisms. They are not regulated by genes. That's why it's self-incompatibility. इसमें reading the question is very important. Otherwise, confusion होगा. The critical research areas of biotechnology. They provide the best catalyst and they create optimal conditions and the downstream processing technologies to purify. ये सारे research areas के critical है biotechnology में, ये NCERT में दिया है. So and इसमें almost in 90% of the question where there is all of the above or none of the above bio में, so answer वही होता है. Not every time, but 90% of the times it's there only. So if आपको confusion हो थोड़ा, and if you want to take chances, you can go with all of the above. Which of the following is equivalence of thin cotton in monopods? Scutellum is the equivalent. NCERT में there is a figure. Dicots में there are 2 cotyledons. That's why it's called dicots. पर monocots में एक ही cotyledon होता है जिसको scutellum देते हैं नाम. So that's the correct answer. There's a figure given in NCERT for reference. Pleiotropic. It is the gene which controls multiple traits in an individual. बहुत सारे ऐसे genes हैं where it can control multiple traits. This is maybe not given in NCERT. ये extra है which you need to learn. तो ये आप through questions learn कर सकते हो. You can note it down somewhere कि pleiotropic gene क्या होता है. एक ही जीन जो बहुत सारे जैसे हाइट, कलर, ऐसे बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स को जो एक जीन कंट्रोल करेगा, दैट्स कॉल्ड प्लियोट्रोपिक जीन. Propionobacterium showmani. It is used in the ripening of Swiss cheese. Propionobacterium showmani में बहुत it produces CO2, तो उससे large holes हो गए, और Swiss cheese में there is requirement of large holes of CO2. So it is used in the ripening of Swiss cheese. इसमें you have to mug up the microbes and the ripening of cheese or microbes and the uses. इसमें all the things you need to mug up. There is no concept here. You need to learn what is done. Then the 12th question is, which of the form is not correctly matched with respect to the mode of reproduction? Okay. So rhizome is in banana. Banana reproduces by the underground structure that is called rhizome. So this is correct. Binary fission, it occurs mostly in amoeba. It does not occur in sargassum. That is wrong. We look at the other options. Conidia, yes. Penicillium reproduces by the spore-like structures, long spore-like structure. That's called conidia. And offsets, yes. Port hyacinth reproduces by offset, a stem-like outgrowth. So binary fission is seen in amoeba. It's not seen in sargassum. Cytokinins were discovered as direct NCERT question. It is mentioned in NCERT. It is kinetin. It was cytokines were first discovered from the sperm, and they were discovered as kinetin. Yeah, so this also you need to mug up. There is no other option, no shortcut there. Which of the following is not the characteristic features of sponges? Sponges are the most primitive animals. So they do have the cellular level of organization. They do have ostia as an opening. Then they digest directly only inside the body. They don't have any structures because they are the most primitive form. So they don't have any organ or organ system level. But their body is supported by spicules. They are not supported by chitin. So the incorrect one is fourth one. Okay, the 15th question is, there are two statements and we need to see which one is right or wrong. In Spirogyra, sometimes the gametes behave directly as zygospores without fusion. That is right. That is called azygospores. That happens sometimes. So statement 1 is correct. In Spirogyra, asexual reproduction is by non-flagellated zoospores producing pharyngea. No, that is wrong. In Spirogyra, asexual reproduction is by fragmentation, not by non-flagellated spores. So that is wrong. So statement 1 is right and statement 2 is wrong. That is option 3. In which in vitro technique sperm is directly injected into the womb to form an embryo. Okay. So in vitro techniques in IVF, ET, there is embryo transfer. The fertilization is done in vitro. The sperm is not directly injected. But in ICSI, that is intracytoplasmic sperm injection, that is the technique where sperm is directly injected to womb. That's the correct answer. Gift is gamete intrafallopian transfer, where the gamete is transferred to the fallopian tube. In intrauterine insemination, the insemination is done in uterus. So injection is not used. Injection is only used in ICI, that is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Okay, the 17th question is, translocation of organic solutes in seed tube members is supported by. Okay, so translocation of solutes is done by mass flow, which is the mass flow hypothesis. given in NCERT. This is also a direct NCERT question. Mass flow with the energy and a carrier is used for translocation of food in the plants. This is a direct question. The option B is the correct one. Okay, question 18 is again statement based. Ballistic method of gene transfer is an example of direct gene transfer. Yes, where in ballistic method, tungsten or any gold is used for transferring of gene directly. And statement 2 is in the ballistic method, PBR3 no. PBR322 is a vector. It is not used in the ballistic method. That one is false. So statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. Question 19 is which of the following organ system level of organization is observed? Okay. So mollusca is the primitive form. It is not observed there. So all of these is also get cancelled out. Only annelids have organ system level of organization. From Haskell to Mine's, the organ system level of organization starts. So annelids also have organ system level of organization. So that is the correct answer. What is the gene which shows codominance? So a gene which shows codominance is basically both genes get expressed independently. They don't need other support. So that's the option C. Option 2 is they are recessive. No, they are not recessive. They both get expressed individually only. They don't dominate or recess the function of the other gene. So that's option 3. This is also not given in NCERT. You need to read extra for this. Okay, then the next question is, what is the structure of ecosystem comprised of? So in ecosystem, there is input of energy by sun or the producers. There's output of energy by the consumers, which consume energy and give it out, by the dead plants, dead animals, which give out energy. And there is transfer of energy between different levels. So all of these occurs in structure of ecosystem. Question 22, what is neural canal? Neural canal is basically a hollow portion inside the vertebral column, and through the neural canal our spinal cord passes. So this is the structure of neural canal, where it is a structure which facilitates the transfer of spinal cord. So the first option is the correct option. It is not filled with any fluid, and it also is not present in bone. It is present in vertebral column. So the first one is the correct one. So the following viruses is used for the purpose of organic farming. So what is organic farming? It is the farming where there is no use of pesticides by the farmers. It is important for the environment, and the crops grown are healthier for us. So in that, baculoviruses are used. Influenza is not used. Influenza is the virus through which we get cold. TMV is the virus which infects plants, and retrovirus is the virus through which we get HIV, AIDS, and many other STDs. So they are not used in organic farming. Baculovirus is used. So the option 1 is the correct one. You need to also remember this. There is no consent involved in this. Okay, the allele which is unable to express its effect in the presence of another one is called recessive allele. Direct gen text question from NCERT. It needs both its copy of alleles to express itself. It can't express in the presence of a dominant allele. That's called a recessive allele. Then the next question is peptide hormone, which acts mainly on hepatocytes and adipocytes and enhances the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So the hormone which uses glucose for the body requirements is insulin. That's the only hormone which decreases the glucose in the body and it increases its uptake by the cells or the muscles. So insulin is the correct one. Glucagon, it increases the level of glucose in blood. So it decreases the cellular uptake. Secretin and Gastrin are not related to glucose. They are digestive hormones, so they do not have a role here. So insulin is the correct answer. Question 26. In coal-fired power plant, electrostatic precipitators are installed to control the emission of. This is also a direct question from NCERT. You need to remember this. The electrostatic precipitators are used for controlling the dust or any other particulate matter. So they collect that. So SPM is the correct answer. They collect SPM. SOT, NOT, or CO is not collected by them. Hormones of pituitary gland are pituitary gland releases 8 hormones like EDH, then GnRH, GHRH. So all of them, if you have seen the structure of all the hormones, they are all proteins. They are not steroids. They are not carbohydrates. They are all proteins. All the hormones of pituitary gland, which are either synthesized or released, are all proteins in nature. You need to remember this as well. Okay, question 28 is loading of phloem is related to. So loading of phloem is dependent on the sugar level, sugar concentration between the parts of the plant. So if there is more sugar, the loading will be less. If there is sugar deprivation in the parts of the plant, then the sugar loading will increase. So it depends on the phloem sugar content. The next question is, in which in vitro techniques sperm is directly injected into ovum to form an embryo? So sperm is directly injected to ovum. So there is fertilization of sperm and ovum done outside the body, and then there is transfer. It is done in vitro fertilization, embryo transfer. That's correct. The option 1 is the correct one. In the other 3, there is no direct injection of sperm and ovum done. ICSI is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. GIFT is gamete intratransfer of fallopian tube, and IUI is intrauterine insemination. So there is no direct transfer of ovum and sperm there, which is done in vitro. Only IVF ET has done. So you have to select option 1. This is a concept-based question. You need to know all the techniques. It's not given in so much detail in NCERT, but you need to read it from other books. But the 2 to 3 lines given in NCERT are also enough for question. Outside it won't come, I guess, and need. Then question 30 is, in which of the following ART the embryo is formed by in vivo fertilization? In vivo, the fertilization is done inside the body, not outside. So ZIP is zygote intrafallopian transfer. So the fertilization is done outside the body. Zygote is formed outside the body. So that's not the correct answer. IUT is intrauterine transfer. There also the gamete is the embryo is formed outside the body and then it's transferred. IVF ET also the embryo is formed outside the body and then it's transferred. GIFT is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Here the gamete is formed and then it's transferred in the fallopian tube, and there is the fertilization occurs inside the body of the mother, inside the fallopian tube or the uterus. So GIFT is the correct answer. Question 31. Glucose and amino acids are reabsorbed in which part? So inside the kidneys, different materials, different components are reabsorbed in different parts. Glucose and amino acids are absorbed in the PCT, the proximal convoluted tubule. A collecting duct mostly absorbs the excess of water. The loop of Henle maintains the concentration of urine, and distal tubules absorb some of the sodium, but not the majority of one, and it secretes K+, potassium ions. So the reabsorption majority of glucose and amino acids occurs in the PCT. So that's the correct answer. There is a diagram in NCERT which you need to learn by heart, because the reabsorption, the secretion of components in urine is frequently asked in NEET UG. So the diagram you need to properly memorize. Then question 32. Exobiology or cosmic theory. refers to the study of. This is not given in NCERT. It is completely outside of NCERT question. So sometimes 2 or 3 questions like this can appear in NEET UG paper. So if you know the answer, if you have any idea, you can choose, or either you can decide to not attempt it. That would be a better option rather than giving a guess, because there is negative marking. So here exobiology, I know it. So exobiology is study of organisms which are outside the earth, which are situated in different planets in the universe. That's called exobiology. So life on other planets is the correct option for this one. Question 33. If you suspect major deficiency of antibodies in a person, to which of the following would you like to like for confirmation evidence? So antibodies are immunoglobulins. They form the antibody structure. So serum globulins can be used to figure out if they have deficiency or not. Albumins are proteins. They do not have any role in antibodies, so they cannot be used. Fibrinogen helps in clot formation. They do not have role in antibodies. Hematocytes are blood cells. They also don't have any diagnostic value of antibodies, so serum globulins can be used to determine if there is sufficient antibodies or not. Question 34. Most fungi are heterotrophic because heterotrophic means the organisms which cannot produce their own energy or their own food, and they depend on plants for their food. So except plants, every organism is heterotrophic. So many fungi are saprophytes. They live on dead and decaying matter. Parasites, many fungi are parasites also. They they live on a host and derive their nourishment from them. And rhizopus is a symbiote, a bion, which derives its energy from other hosts by not competing but living in a mutual relationship with the host. So it does not harm the host, or it does not benefit the host. That's a symbiote. So all of these, some fungi are examples of all of these. So because they do all of them, they're heterotrophic. So all of these is the correct option for me. Then coconut plant, it is a drupe. This is also out of NCERT question. It was as this content was there in NCERT before few years. Now it's not there. But you can see these questions in few previous year papers. Drupe, berry, that all are there. So drupe is basically a fruit where there is a single seed, single large seed, and there is a covering outside the seed. So coconut, mango, they are the examples of drupe. So coconut is a drupe. Okay, then during sodium dependent glucose transport, a sodium dependent glucose transport occurs for the absorption of glucose. So here the sodium is ATP is used. ATP as an energy is used for the transfer of glucose. The sodium is transported through its through the concentration gradient, so it gets transported passively. But glucose is actively transported from the low concentration to the high concentration area. So the third one is the correct one. Sodium is transported in its concentration gradient from high to low, but glucose is transported from low to high. So sodium is transported passively, but glucose is transported actively with a use of ATP. This is the example of secondary active transport. Okay, considering the longitudinal section of fruit starting from tip. Identify the correct order of arrangement of 4 different zones. So this is also a diagram in NCERT. So the cap zone is the one which is at the tip. Then there is zone of division. Then there is zone of elongation, and then there is zone of maturation. So the first one is the correct one. This is the structure of the root. You need to memorize the structure. It is a diagram given in NCERT. So the root cap zone occurs the first, and the zone of maturation occurs the last at the top. Axial skeleton. what is the axial skeleton? It is the part of the bones which are lying in the midline in our body. So the skull, the vertebral column, the sternum, all lies in the midline. So all the structures comprises of the axial skeleton. The appendicular skeleton, on the other hand, are your hands and legs. So all the bones other than this comprises of the appendicular skeleton. So all of these comprises the axial skeleton. Mini-matter disease. So this is also not there in NCERT. Mini-matter disease is a disease due to accumulation of mercury. I used to remember it from mini-matter mercury. So release of industrial waste containing mercury to water is the correct answer. It is a pollution disease by that. You need to read some material outside the NCERT. This was even asked in previous year, before 20-25 years. This was asked in NEET UG paper. So you can memorize it from that also. Okay, question 40 is interstitial cells of testes. So the interstitial cells of testes are the Leydig cells, and they basically synthesize testosterone. So testosterone is the androgen. So they help in synthesizing and secretion of androgens. Question 41, the measure of resources enough to support a maximum possible number of species, beyond which no further growth is possible. So carrying capacity is the measure of this. It is this is a term used for there are certain resources. The number of resources are limited, but the species are not limited. So the resources are available in nature in such amount that beyond a certain number of species, there won't be any group to control the population. And that is basically known as carrying capacity. This is also not given in NCERT, and you need to read it from your supplementary material. Okay. Question 42 is Phoenix dactylifera. Phoenix dactylifera is the scientific name for date palm. So this is the NCERT question. It is a 2000 years old viable seed. It is directly given in NCERT, line to line. So there is no concept here. You need to memorize it. Questions like this do come in NEET UG paper. 1 or 2 questions like this do come. So you need to learn the NCERT line by line for this. Question 43. Most significant trend of evolution of modern. So upright posture, shortening of jaws, binocular vision, everything is in trend from the ancestors. It has changed over time, but increasing brain capacity is the most significant trend till now. This was, I guess, one of the previous questions of NCERT of NEET. So yeah, increasing brain capacity is the correct answer. It was less CC in the primitive ancestors, in the primitive Homo sapiens, and it has increased till the time it has reached our species. Question 44 is, which of the following characters of pea plants chosen by Mendel had the contrasting traits of green and yellow? So green and yellow were seed colors, flower colors were white and violet, and pot color, I'm not sure there was a pot color, but there were seed colors of green and yellow. So the correct option is option 3. Question 45 is system of classification, which of the following is not a family or an order. So there are 7 system of classification: species, genus, family, order, phylum. So angiosperm is a division. It is not a family or a order. So this is also mentioned in the NCERT. There are examples of there are examples of each category. There is example of genus, species. So you should at least learn the examples which are given in NCERT. So angiosperm is not a family or a order. It is a division. That's the correct answer here. Question 46 is conifers differ from grasses. So grasses are monocots. So monocots do not have pollen tubes. They do not have xylem tracheates, and they does not they do not produce seeds from ovules, because these all are features of dicots. Monocots do not form. But conifers also do not have, because conifers is a lower level than monocots also. But formation of endosperm before fertilization is done in conifers, but in grasses is not before fertilization. It is also given in NCERT clearly, so you need to learn this. If you can understand the concept very well, or you need to mark up the differences there between the dicot, monocot, conifers, grasses. Certain levels are there which you need to learn the differences. Then question 47. Offset is a lateral branch with short internodes and each node bearing a rosette on top. Yes, that's correct. So example of offset is, this is also mentioned in NCERT very clearly. You need to mug this up, the botany part. The examples for botany, you cannot do anything else. You need to mug them up. At least the ones given in NCERT should be on your tips, because they would be asked in exams. There are many times examples are asked in NEET UG. So Piscia and Econia were the examples of an offset. So here Piscia is the correct answer. Question 48. Which of the following sentences are correct? It's about cancer. So the cells of malignant tumors divide erratically. That's correct. They divide randomly. That's why they lead to cancer. More than 1 million Indians suffer from cancer and large number of them die. The statistics part, we are not sure. So let's jump to option 3. They show property of contact inhibition. Cancerous cells lack a property of contact inhibition. They cannot show it. If they show the property of contact inhibitions, they would not be able to grow randomly. They would not grow in a random fashion. They would grow in a systematic fashion, and cancer won't be a result of them. So the third option is incorrect. So if we eliminate the third option, the option A goes, option B goes, and option D goes. There is only one option left, that is 1, 2, and 4. And yeah, metastasis is the most feared property. Yes, a metastasis is a process in which the cancerous cells from one part of the body move to the other part of the body by themselves, and they invade the whole body eventually. So that is the most feared property. So here the option, the correct one is option 3. We need to eliminate and find out sometimes. If you are not sure of all the options, I wasn't sure of the second option, so we skipped it. But eventually from other options, we can eliminate and find out that, yeah, which one is the correct one. Question 49 is, which of the following hormones can play a significant role in osteoporosis? Osteoporosis is basically the weakening of the bones, and there will be increased susceptibility to fractures. That happens because of lack of estrogen. Estrogen is the factor which prevents osteoporosis. So the women before menopause are not likely to develop osteoporosis, but after menopause, there are more chances of it. So estrogen does not play a significant role in osteoporosis, it prevents it. So the parathyroid hormone and the prolactin, they are the hormones which play a significant role in osteoporosis. Parathyroid hormone increases the calcium content of the blood. So they derive calcium from the bones, they remove the calcium from the bones, and they make the bones weak. So that way they play a significant role in bringing out osteoporosis. And prolactin also helps parathyroid hormone in it. So option 4 is the correct one here. Then question 50 is passage cells. Passage cells are found in the endoderm. This is given in NCERT. They are found in the endoderm and they help in the transport of water. So the option 4 is the correct one. They do not have they do not help in the transport of solute particles. So option 1 is incorrect. They are not test of seeds. They are not found in central region of style. So the option 4 is the correct one. A granum, this is also given in NCERT directly. Granum is the stack of thylakoids. They are a coin-like stack of thylakoids, one on the other. that makes a structure known as granule. So option 2 is the correct one. Option 1 is stack of membrane-bound flattened discoids containing the molecules of chlorophyll. They do not contain chlorophyll. Option 3 is thylakoids arranged one besides. They are not arranged one besides other. They are arranged one on top of other. So option 2 is the correct one. The botanical name of plant source of colchicine. This is also out of the NCERT question. If you know it, well and good. If you don't know it, you need to skip it and move. So the botanical name is Colchicum autumnale. So that's the correct one. I knew it, but if you don't know, you just need to skip it. Some questions like this would appear, and it will be the wise one to skip it if you don't know. You don't need to take chances, because if you get it wrong, you will end up losing marks. Okay, the gross values of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. This is also given in NCERT. You need to memorize the values. For carbohydrates, it's 9. For proteins, it's 5. And for fats, it's 4 approximately. So the option 1 is the correct one. Need to memorize it in the order only. This also is once asked in previous year, so you need to know the values. Question 54. The ribs are known as bicephalic because on the dorsal end, dorsal means the back posterior end, there are two surfaces of articulation. So two structures can be attached to a single rib. So because of this reason, it is known as bicephalic, because two structures can be articulated from its dorsal. So option 3 is the correct one. This is also given in NCERT directly. Need to read it. Question 55, monoecious plant. These examples are also given in NCERT. You need to memorize the examples. Pinus is a monoecious plant. All the other options are dioecious. So the correct one would be Pinus. Okay. Metabolism. Question 56, given below is a reaction catalyzed by enzymes Z, and we need to know the class of enzyme Z. So there are 6 classes of enzyme given in NCERT: transferase, ligase, thiase, hydrolase. So in this reaction, the double bond is being made and the single bond is being broken. So ligase does it. Ligase helps in formation of double bond. Examples of reactions catalyzed by which type of enzymes is also given in NCERT. And you need to know which enzymes enzymes catalyze which type of reactions. So double bonds are always made by ligase. So that's the correct one here. Okay, 57 is in the given organelle, which part is associated with packing of material. So this is a Golgi apparatus. So there are two phases in Golgi apparatus, cis and trans phase. So cis phase helps in packing of materials. The material comes from the endoplasmic reticulum and then goes to Golgi apparatus. So packing is done in the cis phase, and the trans phase is responsible for secretion. So the correct answer here is the cis phase. This picture is also given in NCERT. You need to learn it, the parts, the functions of Golgi apparatus, and the structure of Golgi apparatus. Question 58 is, which of the following pairs of substances are found inside a mitochondrion? Okay, so in mitochondrion, there is a single DNA present in a 70S ribosome. It is given in NCERT, the structure of mitochondrion, where there is only a single DNA molecule present. So you need to learn it. There is no concept. Okay. Conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. This is the first step of glycolysis cycle, and it is catalyzed by hexokinase. So there is a table given for the whole path of glycolysis. If you cannot remember the whole cycle, the whole path, at least the enzymes which are important. You need to memorize them and the reaction that they carry out, because it is many asked in many of the exams, and sometimes the inhibitors of enzymes are asked. So for that, you need to know which enzymes catalyze which path, which reaction. So some enzymes you need to remember. Hexokinase is one of them. So yeah, this is directly given in NCERT. Question 60 is, bees are known to play an important role in pollination. Which of the following is implemented to increase the pollination efficiency? So pollination happens by the transfer of pollen grain from one to the other flower. So if the beehives are kept in crop fields during the flowering season, they can help in pollination. In harvesting season, so the crops would always already be made, and you need to cut the crops. So the bees cannot be useful that time, and they help in pollination. So they should not be kept far away from the fields. So yeah, the option 1 is the most appropriate one here, because they help in pollination. They should be kept in the flowering season when they can help in transferring of pollen grains from one flower to the other. Okay, so this is the structure of plasma membrane of our body. So they are asking what is X and what is Y. So the environment, the internal and the external environment here are aqueous environments, right? So the part of the protein which is hydrophobic should be inside. Hydrophobic means the part which is scared of water. Hydrophobic. Phobia means scared, and hydro means water. So hydrophobic is the part which is scared of water. So it should be inside. So why should be hydrophobic? Because it's inside. So it would be protected from the aqueous environment. It won't come in contact. And hydrophilic is the part which loves water. So that should be X. Because it's outside, it will get in contact with the aqueous environment. So X should be hydrophilic and Y should be hydrophobic. That's option 1. Okay, dikaryophase. What's a dikaryophase? It's basically an N plus N phase. So before the occurrence of a 2N chromosome, there is a transient period of N plus N where the chromosomes do not actually become genetically become 2N. They remain in an N plus N dormant state. So that's found in ascomycetes and the basidiomycetes. This is also, I think, not given in NCERT, but it was asked before a few years. So you need to practice it from previous questions. Okay, question 63. So we need to know how many statements are correct. So mammals have negative pressure breathing. The pressure inside the lungs is negative compared to outside. So it is not the same as the atmospheric pressure, but it is less than the atmospheric pressure. So we can suck more air. So that's the correct statement. For voluntary breathing, medulla, yes, medulla helps in voluntary breathing. This is also given in NCERT directly. So yes, that's a correct statement. The trachea, primary and secondary and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles have incomplete cartilaginous wings. No, that's wrong. They have complete cartilaginous wings. And the volume of air remaining in lungs even after full expiration is FRC. Yes, FRC is that air that this is given in NCERT. So first, second, and fourth statements are right. The third one is wrong. So 3 statements are correct. The third one should be complete cartilaginous wing, not the incomplete one. Other 3 are correct. So 3 is the correct answer here. Question 64. Which of the following triplet codes is correctly matched with its specificity of amino acids? A start or stop. Okay. So there's a table given in NCERT where there are all the genetic codes and the proteins which are synthesized by the triplet code. So there are many mnemonics available where you can learn, but you need to know which protein triplet code, which protein is synthesized by which triplet code, because It is as many times in the new NEET UG exam. So EUG is the start codon. It starts the cycle of protein synthesis, and AGU, AUG, and AGG are the stop codons. So they stop the cycle. So that is all the other options are wrong. UAC is the correct one. Tyrosine is synthesized by UAC. So they have mnemonics, as I said, for which proteins are synthesized, and you try to learn them. Sometimes they do ask questions based on this, so you should know. The small table given in NCERT is sufficient. If you know it, you can answer many of these questions. Operon concept. So this is given very nicely in NCERT. And regulator genes, it functions as all of them. When needed, they can repress the gene, so there is no formation of product. They can also regulate the gene function, as the name suggests, and they are also inhibitors. Most of the time, they inhibit the production of the protein. So they regulator gene functions as all of these when required. So all of these is the correct answer here. Question 66. This is based on a photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So this is also given in NCERT very nicely. Here X is the ADP, X dash is ATP, A is H2O. So we need to see what are they asking. A undergoes splitting at PS1. Electrons are transported through. Splitting of water occurs in PS2, not in PS1. That's wrong. Similarly, option 3 is also wrong, because here also they are saying it's undergoes splitting at PS1, which is wrong. So the second one is X dash and Y dash are formed on stromal side. And electrons are transported through iron and copper containing. That's right. And transport of hydrogen through photosystem causes a transfer of electrons. This is the correct one. The fourth one, there is no mention of hydrogen. Electrons are transported through iron and carbon. The fourth one is incomplete one. The most appropriate is the second one. So the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 diagram is given in NCERT, which you need to know. Because electron transport system, photosystems, these questions with the diagrams are many times asked, and they are the ones which are the most conceptual ones. So you should know how the electrons are transferred from where to where, the complete mechanism. If you know, you can answer them very easily. Question 67 is, and amoeba differs from amoeba in not having. So nucleus is present in both, pseudopodia is present in one, ectoplasm is also present in both. A contractile vacuole is present only in amoeba, because amoeba lives in water, so it needs contractile vacuole, and amoeba does not live in water, so it has no requirement of it. So the fourth one is the correct one. For identity of sex, so this is animal kingdom. Female ascaris does not have a sharp posterior end. The male ascaris has it. And the male frog has a copulatory pad on the first digit of forelimb, not the hind limb. Anal cerci are present in both female and the male cockroaches. But the male shark does have claspers on the pelvic fins, and the female shark does not have it. So that is the correct one. You need to memorize this. There's no shortcut. You need to read the options very carefully, because one word would differ and the whole answer would change. So yeah, you need to memorize this. Biodiversity hotspots. Endemism, accelerated species loss, and species richness is all found in biodiversity hotspot. But there will be the most competition there, because the species would be the most, so they would compete the most for the food, the resources. That's the wrong one. That won't be observed. Okay, the catalytic converter in the vehicle. So this is also given in NCERT directly. The catalytic converter helps in the conversion of the carbon monoxide, then hydrocarbons into harmless products. So it helps in preventing air pollution. It is given in NCERT directly. 71 is Mendel's principle of segregation was based on the separation of alleles in the garden. Okay, so this is the Mendel's law of segregation. In the monohybrid cross, it was formed. So while there was formation of gametes, the alleles would be separated. A small t and capital T would separate at the formation of gametes. So gametes formation is the correct one. This is also given in NCERT directly. You need to know the monohybrid cross and how it is formed, so you can know all the laws of Mendel, which of the following is an antiviral protein. Okay, so terramycin and penicillin are antibiotic. They help in killing or static production of bacteria, not virus. Statins are used for decreasing of bad cholesterol in the body. But interferon are the proteins which help in decreasing the viral load. They help in killing the virus. So interferon is the correct answer. This is also given in some corner of NCERT. If you read it properly, you would know it. So yeah, option 4 is the correct one. Okay, blood transfusion. All of the following are incorrect except which one? So which one of this is correct? We need to find out. So we need to know that the donor would give the plasma and the recipient would have the donor would give the RBC and the recipient would have the plasma. This concept should be clear before blood transfusion questions. So the donor always gives the RBC, does not give plasma. Plasma is already there with the receiver. Recipient is the receiver. So the recipient's plasma is wrong. The recipient's plasma should not contain antigens against antibodies. The second one is donor RBC should not contain antibody, okay, against the antigen recipient plasma. The recipient plasma should not contain antibodies against the donor's antigen. So in blood transfusion, the RBC contains the antigens, and the donors donors RBC contains the antibody, and the recipient's plasma contains the antigens. So they should not react. So for a fourth option is incorrect because recipient's RBC is not there. Recipient's plasma is there, so that is eliminated. And should not be. The first one is also incorrect because donors RBC should be there, not donors plasma. So second and third is left. So the donors RBC should not react against the antibodies against the antigens, and the recipient's plasma should not contain antibodies against the donors RBC antigens. The third one is the right one. The plasma of the recipient has the antibodies, and it should not react with the donor's antigens because at the end the blood cells are going in the recipient, right? So if there is antibody antigen reaction, it would affect the recipient, the one which is receiving blood. So its antibody should not react with the antigens of the donor. Now 74. These are enzyme graphs. So Vmax by 2 is basically Km, Michaelin's constant. And Vmax by 2 determines the affinity of the substrate with the enzyme. So in the above curve, the enzyme shows maximum substrate affinity at. So as I said, the lesser the concentration of substrate at Vmax by 2, more is the affinity, because affinity is indirectly proportional to the concentration. So basically, what is affinity? Affinity means kitne kam concentration mein you can achieve the Vmax by 2. So the lesser the concentration, the more the affinity, because in less concentration, it can get Vmax by 2. So the least is 10, which is option B. Graph B has 10 as the concentration of substrate, which is the least. So it has the most affinity. So graph 2 here is the graph B is the correct answer. Question 75 is mitotic anaphase differs from metaphase. So in metaphase, there are 2 chromosomes with 4 chromatids at the center of the central plate, and in anaphase, the chromosomes will be 2 at both the ends, but the chromatids will decrease by half. So there were 4 chromatids in the metaphase, but there will be only 2 chromatids each side of the pole in the anaphase. The chromosome number would remain the same. So same number of chromosomes and half number of chromatids. That's the fourth option. That is the great answer. This figure is also given in NCERT very nicely, and you need to learn. You need to understand the mitotic anaphase, metaphase. So many of the cell division questions will be cleared by this. So you should know what is chromosome, what is chromatid, and how they divide in the cycle. How it works in metaphase, anaphase, prophase, you need to know that. Then you would be able to answer these type of questions. Okay, what is a true fruit? A true fruit is one in which the ovary gives rise to fruit and the other parts like the pistil and all degenerate. Petals, pistil, they all degenerate and fall off. That is the true. So this is given in NCERT. Out of all the 4, only P is the true fruit. All the other 3 are false fruits. They do not have in them not only the ovary but the other parts of the flower also takes part in the formation of fruit. So here P is the correct answer. Question 77 is the valence is to induce the synthesis of amylase enzyme, and it leads to germination of seed. Okay. So they are basically asking what is the antagonist of this, means which hormone stops the germination of seeds. So abscisic acid is the only hormone which leads to dormancy, which leads to which stops the growing of seed, which stops the germination of seed. Abscisic acid is the only hormone. So option 3 is the correct answer here. Question 78. During an accident, hypothalamus is damaged. So which of the following functions will be impaired? So we need to know what is the function of hypothalamus. It helps in regulation of the water content, the sexual behavior. Then it helps in the synthesis of 2 hormones, that is oxytocin and vasopressin. So out of all the options, only option 3 has the function of hypothalamus. Option 1, decision making and memory is done by the cortex, frontal lobe of the brain. So speech and voluntary movements are controlled by many parts of the brain. It is not controlled only by hypothalamus. And motor functions and a release of pineal glands is controlled by many tracts of the brain. So the function of hypothalamus does not get impeded in any of the following. Only the third one, sexual behavior and synthesis of vasopressin, only that would get affected. Okay, the genetic material of HIV. So there is a very nice diagram given in NCERT about the HIV, the structure of the virus. So it contains 2 ssRNA, 2 single-stranded RNA are present in the HIV. You need to learn the structure, the diagram, because many many enzymes, many glycoprotein attached to the virus, everything is asked in exam. Many times you need to label the structure in the need use exam. So you need to know the structure of HIV by heart. Question 18. Claviceps purpura. It is a straight NCERT memorizing question. You need to mug this up. All the diseases caused. There's no concept. I am also not sure, but I think ergot of rye is caused by Claviceps purpura. Most probably it's the ergot of rye. All the diseases caused by all the organisms which are at least given in NCERT, you should know it by heart, because they can ask any of these examples. So read it multiple times. I'm not sure, but mostly it's the ergot of rye, I guess. Walking phone is named so because it propagates vegetatively by its leaf tips. It is given in NCERT as the way the leaf of the plant grows, it can reproduce by that its leaf buds and leaf tips. That's why it's given the name walking phone. So you need to know this. Okay, this is a diagram-based question again. We need to find out the incorrect match. So B is aster. This is aster. The structures radiating in spokes outside the chromosome. C is the cell membrane. D is the centromere of the chromosome, which joins two chromatids. But A is spindle tubules. This diagram is given in NCERT. So if you have seen the diagram, you will understand that A is not kinetochore, it is spindle tubules. So the incorrect one is A here. Which of the following is correct about dinoflagellates? So dinoflagellates are flagella which contain two, they are the organisms which contain two flagella. One is present longitudinally and one is present transversely. So option 2 is the wrong. They are not responsible for red tides. Red algae are responsible for them. The cell wall is not made up of pellicle in dinoflagellates. So the option which is correct is the rate of reproduction is slow. So by method of elimination, we can know that other three are wrong. So the rate of reproduction would be the correct one. The cavity in graphene follicle is called antrum. This is a structure. There is no concept here. You need to know the structure of the ovary, the graphene follicles, all the follicles, the menstruation. You need to know all the structures, all the changes in menstruation. It is given very nicely in NCERT. So at least the primary follicle, secondary follicle, the characteristics given in NCERT at least that you should know. So here the answer is antrum. 85 is what is the viroid? Viroid is basically a RNA coat without proteins. That is a viroid. So it does not. It has low molecular weight RNA. This is given in NCERT. You need to memorize it. So option 1 is high molecular weight. That is wrong. It does not contain DNA. So second option is wrong. And it comprises RNA associated with proteins is wrong. It does not have proteins. It has only RNA without the protein code. So the fourth one, RNA with low molecular weight, is the correct one. 18.6. Following statement is incorrect about evolution. So evolution, fossilized animal does provide good information on evolution. That is correct. Wings of birds and phloems, the homologous organs. These examples are also given in NCERT. Many of the organs are homologous, which has the same origin. So you need to know the homologous organs. So second one is correct. And higher animals' early development stages are similar. It is similar in all the animals. So the fourth one, variation of individuals are not important. They are important. Variation is the major factor by which natural selection is done. So that's the most important one. So the fourth one is incorrect. They are important. They are not important. So the fourth one is wrong. Okay. 87th is following method of biodiversity conservation, transfer forest are set aside. And trees and wildlife are given total protection. So in sacred groves, this is done. This is also very volatile topic for diversity and its conservation, its structures. So you need to know difference between botanical gardens, national parks, which structures as which. You need to memorize it, mug it up. There's no other way out here. Okay, here also we need to know how many statements are correct. So first one is plasma without clotting factor is called lymph. That is wrong. Plasma without clotting factor is called a serum, not lymph. Second one is correct. Spleen is the graveyard of RBC. Spleen helps in destruction of the RBC, so it is the graveyard. Third one is eosinophils resist infections are also associated with allergic reactions. That is also right. They are the cells which form the first line in infections and allergy. So that's the correct statement. And universal donor group is O negative, not O positive. This is the trick statement. So O negative is the blood donor group, not O positive. So that is the wrong statement. So two statements are correct and two are wrong. So statements correct are two. Okay, which of the following has a network of neurons but does not comprise of brain? So here the primitive organism would have neurons but it won't have the brain. So the most primitive out of the four is Hydra. So it would have a network of neurons but it won't have the brain. It is given very clearly in the NCERT. Question 90 is kind of pyramid. If a small standing crop of lower profit level support a large. So if a small group is supporting a large group, it would always be an inverted pyramid, not upright. So 2 and 4 gets eliminated. An inverted pyramid of number is not possible because if number is small, there would never be a stable inverted pyramid. But the inverted pyramid of biomass is possible in case of zooplanktons. A small group can support a large group of plankton. So that is possible. So inverted pyramid of biomass is the correct one here. And the last question is, it is a genetics question. Cross between individuals produces a 50% dominant character and 50% recessive. What are the genotypes of parents? So you need to do the cross manually to know. So in the first option, if we do the cross, 75% of them would be dominant because capital A would come in 75%. So that is not the correct one. In second option, 50% would be dominant, 50% would be recessive because in 50%, two small A's would come. In 50% capital A small A would come, which would be dominant one. In third option, all would be dominant because in every one of them, capital A would come. And in fourth one, also all the one would be dominant because one capital A would come in each of them. So only the second one would be there. In there, two small A's would come and two small A's would represent the recessive character. So that would be the correct one in question 19.